Hello, and welcome to Modern Explorer, The Interviews. This is Glenn Norberg. Today, I'll be talking with Suzie W about some unusual things she saw in the summer of 2019 while fishing with her friend. Suzie is a Canyon City resident and has fished in and enjoyed the outdoors of Colorado her whole life. While up by Marshall's Pass in Sasquatch County, while not actually experiencing anything, she did see some oddities that made her think that there was something going on. So sit back and relax and listen to Suzie as she tells her story.
My name is Suzie. A year ago, my girlfriend and I went over to Sargent's over on the other side of Monarch Pass. And we were going to go brookie fishing over there in the creek of Marshall. When we got there at Sargent's, there were a couple people that had been staying in the cabins where we were going to stay there. And we got to talking and visiting with them, and they asked us what we were doing, and we said we were going to go fishing. And they said, "Where are you going?" We said, "Oh, up on Marshall over there." And they made the comment, "Oh, well, watch for the skinny, naked, hairy guy up there." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "Oh, we've seen him a couple times. He's as naked as can be, and he's got all kinds of hair and stuff all over. He's got long hair, but he's naked." And we kind of laughed about it, you know. So we didn't think too much about it, and the next day, me and my friend, we take off to go fishing, and we go up a little creek called Indian Creek over there. And Indian Creek is definitely a back mountain road, very bumpy, rough, not a whole lot of traveling on it. When we got to the end where the road stops, you have to go on a trail to walk any farther than that. Well, when we stopped and got out of the truck, I noticed past the gate there were two trees, probably 25-foot thin Quakies, aspen trees. And both of them were completely folded over each other in the middle of the trail where it was impossible to go. You had to go around them or break them to get through. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird how they're folded over each other, because they were both going opposite ways.
Were they broken?
No, they were just completely folded over in the middle.
Like McDonald's arches, almost.
Exactly. That's exactly what it looked like.
Okay. Describe these trees a little better, if you can.
Oh gosh, these trees were probably, I would say, 20 foot. Oh, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches around probably.
Okay.
And both of them were bent. They were not broken. They were both bent. One was on one side of the creek, and the other one was on the other side of the road. They came together and folded together on the ground, and almost like they wanted to be stuck in the ground right there.
Wow.
And it blocked the whole trail. You could not walk through the trail.
And it was directly on the trail?
Directly on the trail. There's one trail that goes up this road, past the gate. You can't even take a quad up there anymore. They won't let you do that. It's walk or horse only.
Wow.
And you just can't. That's walking if you're going to go up in there.
When's the last time before this that you were up there?
A year before. I go every year.
Oh, so every year. So yeah. It wasn't, the previous year it wasn't done that way?
No. Okay. No. So just weird things like that. I kept seeing broken branches and stuff all along the trail, and just found it strange. So we kept fishing. We got done and ate lunch, and we were coming back down the road, and I looked up on the side of the mountain, and this is a steep mountain. I mean, this is not where just a normal person will just take off and go for a walk, because it's almost straight up and down. Well, I could see on this huge boulder up there stacked rocks. I mean, there were probably 8 or 9 of them that were stacked on top of each other. No trail, no nothing up there. No nothing to go up there. Well, the stack of rocks were clear up on the side of this mountain off of the road. Probably, I would say, 50 yards up on a big boulder, there were probably 6 to 8 stones that were just stacked. Small stones, probably the size of a softball to the size of a baseball, that were stacked on top of each other.
Okay.
And it was just very odd, because I seen it, but it was just very out of the ordinary. It was not something that you see in the wild like that.
Okay. So So the stack, if they're softball size. Let's say softball size, round size. So, but 9 of them, 8 or 9.
I would say no. I would say 6 to 8 of
6 to
them.
8.
Probably. Oh, I don't know. It's probably this tall.
Okay.
Probably
okay.
foot and a half tall.
Okay.
So we came down out of Indian Creek. We were done fishing there. We went up the main road of Marshall Pass. Oh gosh, we went probably 4 miles on up in there and got out and started fishing again. Now I usually take my pistol with me anywhere I go up there, just because what I do. For some reason, I did not take my pistol with me this time. So I got out. My girlfriend is learning how to fish. So she had walked down the creek a little bit, and I had walked up the creek and was walking in really, really thick willows and stuff around in there, and it was kind of hard. There was quite a few little beaver ponds in there and stuff. Well, I had ducked through this one part to get over to a dam, a beaver pond dam, and I stepped over a mud hole. Never seen nothing in that mud hole stepping over it. So now this is really hard. I've had to crawl underneath willows and stuff to get to this one little spot I wanted to fish at.
Been there, done that.
So I fished it for a few minutes. I caught a fish. I got it out, and I was standing on top of the small beaver dam, which was probably just about 6 foot long. And the creek was on one side, and behind me was the mud bog that I had stepped through. Whenever I turned around to get my fish, I started to step across that mud bog. Whenever I looked down into the bottom of it, here was a huge barefoot print. Now I wear a size 9 shoe. I stepped down beside this, and it was probably a good 2 inches deep into this mud bog, but you could see it perfect. It's not that it was wide as it was long. I wear a size 9.5 shoe, and there were still 2 inches on the top and 2 inches to the rear is how big this footprint was.
And it wasn't there when you passed? That you're
I
aware
did
of.
not see that, no.
How long was that?
No, it could not. I just did not see it whenever I was going there. Whenever I turned around and looked down, so I wouldn't fall in this bog, is where I seen it.
How long do you think that was between the first time you passed it and when you
2
went back?
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, long enough for me to catch a fish.
Okay.
I mean, just throw it in. You don't on these creeks. You don't stay in one spot. You walk around.
Yeah.
But then in these willows, you can't see. Somebody could be standing over on the other side of these willows and you'd never see them. But where this footprint was, it had to step up out of the creek into this bog because there was no other track anywhere around. And this bog was probably a good 8 foot in diameter.
And there was only one track?
There was only one track in the middle of it.
Wow.
Now, I tell you, the hair on the back of my neck started standing up, and I was looking for Kim. I'm thinking, okay, now she's down the road. Here I am. I don't have my pistol. It's time to go. So we went to the track. Luckily, she was walking up the road. And she kind of looked at me and she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, we just need to go, And she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." So we got in the truck and I told her what happened. And she said, "Where's your pistol, Susie?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I'm not sure I could have shot anything anyway." I was in such shock by seeing that, It was because it was just there. And who knows? I mean, like I said, it was not wide whatsoever, but the length of it was just...
And it was barefoot. It wasn't...
Barefoot. You could see every toe in it. And I didn't go back up there for the rest of the year.
Now, so this happened when?
This happened last July.
Okay. July of 2019.
2019.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Wow. You're familiar with bear track?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've grown up around hunting, everything. Yeah. I was raised on a ranch, so I've been in the woods all of my life. I know exactly tracking.
And not a bear track?
No, no. This was either a large human footprint or something else. This was not a bear print. This did not have bear toes. This was a footprint. I mean, and it was probably anywhere from 14 to 16 inches long.
Wow.
It was huge. Now, I know stepping in mud will also make it look enlarged, but even at that, it was still huge. A huge print. And yeah, just everything that culminated that day with the trees across and how they were bent and the broken ones that I had seen and the stacked rocks and stuff. It just was not a normal trip
Wow.
that we normally have up there.
Have you ever had any other, I mean, not necessarily Sasquatch and ideas, just any other weirdness out when you've been out and about? I mean, heard weird things, seen some other weird things, or?
I've heard a lot of weird things up there. I've heard a lot of weird things around here, up on Wall Mountain, outside of town here. I've heard strange things. And right off of Wall Mountain is where my brother, when he was 10 years old, heard the scream.
Okay.
And he was with my grandfather, and my grandfather they were deer hunting. And he dropped him off in this one spot, and he told my brother, "You sit here now, don't you move until I come back." And he said, "Don't you move for nothing." Larry said, "All right." He said, "I'll sit here." And Grandpa took off and went north of him up Fear Creek. And odd that it's named that, Fear Creek, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and Larry was sitting there, and just all of a sudden he said he heard something more than anything, and then all of a sudden there was just this loud guttural scream, and he said he has no idea what that was, and it scared him to death, but he never moved till Grandpa came back and got him. And he never told Grandpa about it. So that was his story. But weird.
How about, this is something that has piqued my curiosity, and nobody talks about it unless it's brought up. Have you ever seen any lights?
I've seen a lot of lights at Marshall Pass through my whole life.
As in, like, in the woods or
In the sky.
in the sky?
Yeah, strange, very fast-moving lights, and all of a sudden just stop. 2 or 3 of them all at one time come together and stop, and you can see them, and then they all go in different directions. I've seen just not comets, not shooting stars or anything like that. I mean, things that just zip across as fast as you can. You can't hardly follow it with your eyes, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And
Wow.
I've seen that quite a bit up there. Because it's so dark up there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see everything in the sky.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, there you go. More oddities in Colorado to put in the folder. I'd like to thank Suzie for taking time and sharing her testimony of her experiences. If you or anyone you know would like to tell their story, whether it is from Fremont County or somewhere else in Colorado, or anywhere else in the world for that matter, please email us at encounters@modernexplorer.me. We'd be happy to document your experience. You can remain anonymous if you would prefer. We just want the stories documented. There's something going on.